I give unsolicited advice. Yeah, at the risk of making people annoyed. Good morning! 20 minutes past 11. Let's get going. It's the football fix. And of course, where do we start? We start on... what happened on Wednesday? I'm not sure that to start with. Let me start with Hilda because she's nice and neutral. First of all, there were no surprises on Wednesday.
There were none.
And everything went the way 99% of us thought it would.
Yes, it did.
Unless you're an Arsenal fan. Were you surprised though at how easy it was?
I was actually surprised at how easy it was. Because Arsenal were just on the second foot from the beginning of the game. They couldn't control that game. They were overrun, outworked. The midfield was non-existent. Kevin De Bruyne had all the freedom to do all those things and score goals. So I was really surprised. Personally, I thought this game maybe it would have changed if maybe Jorginho played. For me, before the pre-match, when I was talking to other people, I thought maybe this is a game that needed the experience and control. And they needed experience and control in the midfield. So I told guys, for me, if it was me as Arteta, I would have put Jorginho there just to help them control. And it lacked. Control in the midfield really lacked. And just, they ran riot. Man City really ran riot.
Sammy, I'm working from the neutrals to the obviously heavily partisan.
Well, I guess there was someone who described that game as a sporting strangulation, and I think that's what it was. Looking at how Manchester City just came out of the traps immediately, and they were really powerful. And I was looking at Rob Holding and the defense and how they looked in that game. Everyone looked really, really afraid of what Manchester City would do. And so this was just a confirmation of Manchester City's strength. I remember we had a conversation with Elijah last time, and he didn't actually buy the fact that there is no side right now who can really challenge Manchester City. I think that was one of those performances that showed the gulf between these two sides. And so, yeah, for Manchester City, I think this is a step up for them and what they are going to achieve this season.
And now we can start with excuses. We're done with a neutralized analysis.
To be honest, there's no excuse. That was a terrible performance to watch. From the get-go, I was just looking at the way the players, their body language was, and I was asking myself, what did Arteta tell the boys? For when I saw the lineup, I was shocked. You do not go. Something was not working in that first 11. We threw away points against West Ham, against Soton, so you have to change the first 11.
But who do you change it with?
Bench Martinelli, put in Trossard, then bring in an experienced head in the midfield, Jorginho.
Instead of who?
Instead of Partey. Partey has not been playing well, so hook him off, then bring in Jorginho. Jorginho has been there. He's won the Champions League. So he knows how to play in those high pressure games. So when you put an experienced head, because if in that particular game we couldn't retain possession. And that was our biggest challenge, retaining possession in the right places. And then we lost possession in the wrong places. And you're looking at the captain. The captain is the one who's supposed to be carrying the team. The captain is the one who gives a miss pass, and then we are scored. So where are we going to get the motivation from? So it was just a complete capitulation by Arsenal. And I squarely put it on Arteta.
Kenny?
Simply put, this was a beating. I don't think this is squarely on Arteta. I think this is just about Manchester City being better than Arsenal. I think from the minute the game started, Manchester City wanted that game more than Arsenal did. Pep asked the fans to be more involved into the game. I've never had Etihad
that loud,
but Etihad was quite loud. The fans were really involved. And I think what Pep did was he tweaked the way he played. For the first time in many games, Pep was going longer to Haaland, and Haaland was holding up play for De Bruyne. And let me tell you, I don't know if Arsenal fans pray, but if they pray, they should thank God forever they got Ramsdale from. Because Ramsdale really held these guys out. Because Haaland had 4 one-on-one chances that he didn't score. So it could have been even worse for Arsenal on that day. And I said it, if Arsenal concede early, it becomes a psychological thing for them, especially now where the title race is heating up towards the end. So I think it was more about Manchester City being way better than Arsenal
Tedio?
I was actually bored. I thought this game would have been... I thought this game would have been like the one at the Emirates,
Yes.
where Arsenal and City go toe to toe.
Yeah.
And like you said in the first half, like you tweeted on Twitter, it was a game between City and Ramsdale in the first half. And in the second half, it was just like a training session for City, because Gundo and Kevin, it was just like a a training session. I was really bored. Come on, at least give us a run for our money.
You see, the problem is Ramsdale concedes a goal really early. I thought that was a cheap goal to concede. To be honest, 35 years out.
I respectfully disagree. I think you're giving little respect to the way Kevin De Bruyne places that shot.
No, I think he needs
if
to
you
do better.
watch it, it's not. He doesn't pass it into the corner. He curls it into the corner.
Yeah.
I think that's the main difference. It's not a straight shot into the let's call that the far post.
Yeah.
It's not a straight shot into the far post. He puts a spin on the ball, and he takes the shot also really early. And it's easy to here's the thing with Arsenal fans. There is always one person we want to blame. Now, Ramsdale, you're not blaming him because of this game. You're blaming him because of the Southampton game.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not blaming him because he had.
No. You have just blamed. You've just said Ramsdale concedes early. You said the first goal was a cheap goal. Hasn't he said that?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But
It was. Look, with all due respect, and I haven't played football at any significant level. It's the way the ball was hit. It's. Your first argument was all of it spot on. I actually agreed with a lot of it. That look what Arteta could change the way he plans his team. Arteta could maybe go different because Arteta seems to be stuck in I shall play this way and no other way. Arteta doesn't seem to look at say, you know what? I am not the strongest. Let me sit deep. I am not the strongest. Let me change this. He seems to only play one way. That could be blamed on him. And the fact that he couldn't react to the fact that City went long and once City go long twice in the game, just notice they are going long and also readjust. He didn't, because before, like he says, before De Bruyne scores, they had those chances maybe 2 or 3 times. And I remember watching the game and wondering, why is there a highway in the middle? It took me a while to figure out, they are going long.
Yeah.
But he could see it and change and say, guys, let's drop deep. Let's also give City the ball. Let's sit on the edge of our box. Let them have the ball. So his inability to change, or he's so stubborn in what he wants, I agree. Could he have made changes? I think so. But does Trossard for Martinelli change anything? In all honesty, zero. I don't see what is that big change having Trossard for Martinelli does. Because where Martinelli is doesn't really have... Whoever played on whichever flank, you are a passenger for most of the game. Would he have maybe changed and played Jorginho? Yes, but in place of who? You cannot bench your best, quite possibly your best midfielder in for most of the season in Partey. He's your main guy. You've got to put your main guys. So maybe it goes down to, is the strength in depth there? Is it not there? But it was one of those games where I watched and I was like, Ramsdale has been really good, but it's just unfortunate. He is playing so well, but it's him versus the rest of them. Do I think the game was lost on Wednesday? I think the game was lost a few weeks ago. The game wasn't lost on Wednesday. When Arsenal are looking at the games they will lose, I don't think any Arsenal fan thought we must beat City. I think the idea was you can lose to City and still be in the hunt.
Yes.
I think that is the main thing. You could still lose to City but still be in the hunt. You could still drop points against City and be okay. If Arsenal had beaten West Ham and Southampton, they can lose to City, they'd still be okay. But that's why I feel like Wednesday was like the end. You know, what do they call the cherry on top of the cake? Yeah, now in the opposite way. I don't know whether there's a phrase for the opposite way for, like it's when you get to the bottom. But the problems were beforehand. And some of them, I think, have nothing to do with the team. Some of them, I think, have to do with the team. And I said this last weekend. And Arsenal experienced enough. Teddy called it last week. He said, Arsenal don't have men. Yeah? What, do Arsenal have men? Do they have the experience needed? Do Arsenal have mature players who know what to do, when to do it? Do they have a KDB who couldn't get into the City team in December? There were fights because he wasn't playing enough. Gundo wasn't playing enough. Bernardo Silva wasn't playing enough. But come match, Pep is like, no. We are done playing games. When was the last time you saw Rico Lewis?
Been a while.
When was the last time you saw Foden? I know he was injured, but when was the last time? Even Mahrez. They're like, no. Now it's time for men. So, excuse me, sorry. Move away. Bring the men who know what to do.
Experience.
Now City can't do that. Arsenal don't have that. And I think they looked their age. And I've said this every so often. I think they looked their age.
For me, especially with the Trossard and Martinelli, I would play Trossard just because he has the ability to retain possession. When he can retain and hold the ball for us in the wing for like 10 seconds or so, just to let other people come into play. And for Martinelli, he takes the ball and runs. So he stretches our gameplay, and we didn't need somebody to stretch our gameplay.
But
that
if
was my take here on
if
it.
now Arteta has decided we are playing the same way we play, what do you do?
You see, that was the challenge, and for that first goal, I just think Ramsey should have done better. But
Guys,
apart
I
from
could
that,
be wrong. Let's take a quick poll on that first goal. You think anyone thinks Ramsdale was at fault, or it was a KDB finish?
It was a masterclass.
No,
It was,
masterclass.
yeah.
Yeah?
Good finish from.
Good finish.
The KDB goal, if you have to blame anyone, I think you'll have to blame the defenders. First of all, Holding, who struggled to hold Haaland up. And then after Haaland made that pass on De Bruyne was charging towards, there were almost 3 defenders. And the way De Bruyne turned them coming to this other side, it was so simple. And in fact, City did that twice.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
should have
Because
seen
the
that
other
coming.
chance that Haaland
Yeah.
didn't score, he
Yep.
turned Gabriel the same way.
Yep.
So I think the problem was Arsenal's defenders if you have somebody to blame. And on the point of Martinelli versus Trossard, I don't think really Martinelli can sit. Because if you look at it, the most productive players for Arsenal, apart from Bukayo Saka, the next productive player is Martinelli, is he not? He was injured for a couple of weeks. He came back, still the same level of production.
there were games Martinelli didn't start.
Yeah, and every time he
you
came
see-
off the... In
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
that's
And-
when
and that's- and
he
that's-
came off the bench, scored.
that's the reason why
No. He forces his way back into the reckoning. He's like, I've been injured. I have come back. Oh, I'm not starting. He doesn't start game 1, game 2, game 3. He's like, no. The coach can't afford.
Yeah,
The coach...
I-
In
I-
fact, if there is a player who I think Arsenal should have dropped or who should not have started that game, is the player none of you would want to drop. Thank you. Thank you, Kenny.
Yeah.
That is the guy. If Arsenal fans
that's
are
the guy
honest with
we can't
themselves,
afford to drop.
but if there is a guy who's been off form for maybe the last 4 games,
Yeah, since the Liverpool game.
yeah, even just before the
before,
Liverpool game,
yes.
the guy who's been completely off form, who doesn't seem to get going, not quite sure why, it's Bukayo Saka.
But you
Now,
see-
if there is a guy who you're saying, oh, let's drop because we want to change this, it's Bukayo Saka. But then again, you can't drop Bukayo because you can't drop your star boy. You can't drop your best player. In the real sense, if Arsenal could change maybe 4 guys in the last 3 weeks, they could have given rest to maybe 4 guys. But they can't. So we go back to how there's no strength in depth.
Yes,
There's none.
There's that. But you mentioned a very good point.
Yes.
Martinelli can give you a goal from the bench.
No,
That's not
the
the-
only reason, no, I said he got injured. Trossard started a few games. Martinelli came back, then forced his way back into the starting lineup.
No worries. But what I'm trying to say,
Yes.
with the Trossard, he doesn't offer you much from the bench. So
No.
he doesn't give you another option from the bench.
does.
He doesn't offer
What do you mean
much.
doesn't
He
offer you
does.
more
He
from the
does.
bench?
Once he starts, he offers more. And even if before the Liverpool game, the games that he started, he was playing tremendously well. And then
The
we
word
get-
tremendous, you
we-
use it so loosely. So loosely, we need a dictionary.
We-
Tremendous, you use that word so loosely.
If
Say he
we-
was
if
alright.
if we are winning games, and how many assists did he have? He had like 6 assists. What should we call that?
6 assists in how many games?
Was it 3 games of 4?
Please, someone get us the stats. You know, at times we
Yeah.
bandy words all over the
Sammy,
place
Sammy.
here. Tremendous. No. Someone get us those stats.
Trossard has 10 assists.
The whole season.
Overall, this
So in this is Arsenal ni ngapi? Hizo ndizo nataka tuhesabu juu. Apparently they are 6 in how many games?
But if you look at it, how many goals does Martinelli have? It's close to 15, is it not?
I think he's their second.
He's the second top scorer.
Yeah, but you see, according
Saka.
to Elijah, that's not tremendous. Tremendous is when Trossard starts. Let us come back and find out. Should we listen to Arsenal anymore? Should we just move on? Yeah, while we find out what we mean with the word. What is that word again?
Tremendous.
Yeah, tremendous.